Hey guys, and welcome to night 25 of season 3 of Celebrity Big Brother, and welcome to Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. Okay, just as a little reminder, a catch up before we talk about the live feeds. We've got Todrick as the HOH. We're down to 5 house guests, not a lot of people to be picking from, but Todrick is the HOH. We did have an episode last night. It was one of the recap, rehash kind of episodes, probably my least favorite episode throughout the entire season. But we got it last night showing different things that happened throughout the season. I got to say, it was better than I expected. It was okay, but certainly nothing new or nothing strategic going on in that particular little episode. So let's get right into the live feeds. Again, Todrick's HOH. Now, early yesterday afternoon, I don't always watch the feeds during the day because I have work and all kinds of other stuff, but I did catch a little bit of one conversation I wanted to talk about before we talk overnight. And this is Todd talking to Cynthia. Todd says something about how he's getting ready to leave, so he's going to go on a shopping spree throughout the house. Basically, he's looking around at things that he wants to take with him as mementos of his 29 or less days inside the Big Brother house. So he's going to go on a little shopping spree. And saying, yeah, security will probably stop him, ask little questions as he walks out the door. He's kidding, but he's right. Just as a little FYI, I thought it'd be fun to take all kinds of things from the Big Brother house when I left as well, mainly my outfits, costumes, things like that. But I also had things like a laminated sheet that listed all the ingredients and all the nutritional values and everything of our slop. I thought, man, that'd be perfect to have all the breakdown of slop inside the house. I put that in my suitcase. Nah, it didn't matter. I got back to my sequester spot afterwards, and everything had been searched through. Everything that had anything to do with Big Brother whatsoever was gone. So Todd and Cynthia, everyone else, yeah, load up whatever you want from your house. It's not going to matter. Even as a celebrity, I have a feeling that your suitcase may be a little bit lighter when you get done. So just a little inside scoop I wanted to throw at y'all's this morning. So now let's talk about the live feeds themselves. It was important. We had some things happen. Strategic conversations, a few, but we also had a nomination ceremony and we had a veto competition. Things go fast when you're talking only 3 weeks, 4 weeks of Big Brother. So we did have the nomination yesterday afternoon, early afternoon. No surprise. Todrick's HOH puts up Lamar and Todd on the block, with Todd being the primary target. I don't think he was surprised. Could he have put up Cynthia? Yeah, perhaps. But Todd is the big target at this point in time. Todd's won some competitions, unlike Cynthia and Lamar, who are going to the Derek Frazier route of playing Big Brother. So Todd definitely the target this week. He's been put on the block. No one's a huge surprise. Now, apparently, and we didn't get to see the nomination ceremony, but apparently Todrick, as would be expected, made a huge show of the nomination. He didn't just get up there and read his things. Apparently, he had borrowed jewelry from Cynthia and just made it entire protection. So I'm sure we'll get a lot of focus on that on the next episode that we see on TV. But Todd and Lamar are nominated. Veto's going to be big in deciding whether Todd stays or not. And with that, we lost feed for several hours yesterday until, I don't know, 6:15 or so Big Brother time. Eventually, now we've got a conversation. We've got a veto winner, but I'll talk about that in just a second, because we had a conversation between Todrick and Misha, and it's an interesting strategy. I don't think it'll work, but it's interesting. Todrick's telling Misha that he wants to tell Todd that they don't want to force Cynthia to have to pack up her bags and everything on her birthday weekend. Happy birthday, Cynthia. It was yesterday. And Todrick wants to tell Todd, says, look, why should we make her all pack and be all nervous and everything else? Because we all know, Todd, it's going to be either you or Lamar that goes home. It's not going to be Cynthia. So why even put her through it? So they want to present this to Todd in case he wins a veto, to say, why even use the veto to pull yourself off? It's not going to matter. Lamar's going home anyway. No, you don't do that. If you're on the block and you win veto, I don't care whose birthday it is. I don't care who's feeling down, who's feeling happy, whatever. You pull yourself off the block. But as typical, Todrick and Misha, they're always, there's no downtime, even when it seems very, very certain, set in stone, very predictable what's going to happen. They're still thinking about ways they can tweak and I dare say sometimes overplay just a little bit, but they've got this idea that they'll talk Todd into just leaving Cynthia alone. Well, what's it matter? Stay on the block. Todd doesn't matter. Yeah, Todd's not buying that. All right, so we lose. I mentioned we lost the feeds. Lost the feeds a little bit after that as well. And apparently at some point, and I'm to this point, I've gone back and watched reviews. I'm not really sure when the veto competition took place yesterday. If it was before this conversation between Todrick and Misha or afterwards, I just can't figure out. But at some point while the feeds were down, we had the veto competition, and the winner of veto is Todd Bridges. Good job, Todd. Yeah, Todd, primary target, has saved himself. I always like to see the person who's the main target of the week save themselves. It just adds a little drama. So Todd has won veto. We don't really know what the veto competition was. At one point, Todd's talking, I think it was Cynthia. He's saying something about, yeah, he got down on his knees, and when he did that, he could see the floor, and that helped him know when to lean forward. I don't know if maybe it was one of those dark mazes or something with smoke. We just don't know yet. And there was very little conversation about the veto competition. We'll find out soon enough. But the main thing is that Todd has won veto. Regardless of what Todrick and Misha are going to try to say, Todd will pull himself off the block. As a result, Todrick's not putting up Misha. Would he? Could he? We'll talk about that. But most likely, Todrick's going to put up Cynthia in Todd's place. We'll have Cynthia versus Lamar. At that point, who do Misha and Cynthia vote to send out the door? I don't know. At the end, either one of them, Misha can vote however she wants, even if Cynthia votes against her. Todrick is a tiebreaker. So really, Todrick and Misha control who goes home between Cynthia and Lamar. Who do they send home? I don't know. I really don't know at this point. I've gone back and forth. Who do y'all think they're going to send home? This is one of the few that I'm a little open on where they could go with this thing. But the key is that Todd has saved himself. Todd is probably, as a viewer, Todd is probably our only hope to keep this from being a Misha Todrick final two, which is just a little too predictable. Nothing wrong with having two strong players in the final two, but I'd like to see Todd shake it up just a little bit. And Todd is our, just as Princess Leia, would say, Todd, you're our only hope. Let's see what you do here. So Todd will live to see the final four unless he does something boneheaded, pulls a Marcellus and keeps himself on the block. He's not going to do that. All right, later, as much as I think Todrick is a super fan and understands the game, there was a conversation a little bit later. Todrick and Misha are talking about the final four and who would win HOH, and Todrick saying, I think we're in a pretty good spot, because unless we lose the HOH and the veto, we should be good and all that. Well, it takes a while, and they realize that it doesn't really matter who wins, that the veto winner, not the HOH winner, really gets to decide who goes home in the final four. The HOH, yeah, it's important for who wins it because it means that you're going to the final three, but really it's the veto winner that makes the big decision this coming up week. And they're starting to realize, good or bad, if one of them wins a veto, they're golden. But if Cynthia wins veto, one of them could be in trouble. So they got that. Later, Todrick is talking to Misha again. A lot of talk between these two. About the only two people who are talking these strategy, it seems like yesterday to some degree. But Todrick's talking to Misha and saying, look, are you ever worried, Misha, that I could flip on you and create a Cookout 2.0 alliance? Shouldn't that make you nervous? Wouldn't that make you a little bit worried? Well, Misha kind of laughs it off and says, oh, man, I would be laughing. I'd say, oh, you got me, Todrick, if you did that. She kind of just blew it off as though that would never happen. And Todrick turned right around and said, oh, if I do that, then I know I'd be next. Yeah, you would be, but only if Lamar or Todd at this point, only if Todd or Lamar or Cynthia won that final three and chose not to take you along, or I don't know. I guess it'd be final four. Yeah, one of them would have to win for Todrick to be in trouble. But Todrick says, yeah, no, I wouldn't. Why would I do that? It's important that we both are here to fight to make sure we get to the end and everything. So they both kind of joked around about it. But it got me to thinking, it's got to be the thought going on in Todrick's mind, right? Whether he actually does it or not. He's talked before about the Cookout. He's talked before about the idea of having having another African American win the Celebrity Big Brother, it's got to have crossed his mind, and it's got to have crossed Misha's mind as well. I kind of, in my gut, don't think it'll happen. I think he and Misha are too tight, but you got to look at all the alternatives right now, and a Cookout 2.0 is certainly one of them. All right, we do have a birthday celebration for Cynthia. She got a gift. Big Brother gave her a box that was wrapped up and everything, a lot more than they did for birthdays during my season. And she had a bottle of some kind of wine in there, and birthday hats and some candles. They all sang happy birthday to her, and just took a little break out from the game to celebrate her birthday. And so we had that. We got Toddrick talking to Misha again, saying, look, if Todd wins the next HOH, he's going to put up the two of us. Well, yeah, of course he is. But it doesn't really matter if he wins next HOH. Yes, he'll put the two of them up, but it doesn't matter who wins HOH. It matters who wins the veto in terms of deciding who the final three are. But they're both wondering who Cynthia would vote out if she won that final veto and had a choice. And they both think that she'd vote. Toddrick thinks she'd vote Toddrick out. Misha thinks she'd vote Misha out. Don't know which way she'd go. I don't know. There's a part of me thinks that maybe she'd go after Toddrick before. Well, I don't know, guys. It's going to be a fun next week. We only have one more week left. Lots of talk after that about cars and brakes and movies and a lot of stuff that has nothing at all to do with Big Brother. So we'll just leave it at that. They are talking a little bit about the fan favorite, wondering when they're going to announce the fan favorite, the finale. And just as a reminder, if you haven't voted yet today, text in. You get one vote per day. Text in, vote for your favorite, whoever it may be. I've said before, Shanna's mine, but y'all vote for who you want as your fan favorite. There's a lot of talk about who would get whose votes in a final two. Toddrick thinks he'd get Mariah, Carson, Misha's vote. Todd thinks he'd get Shanna's vote against Toddrick. Cynthia's saying, look, no one's had any beef with Lamar. Lamar would get a lot of votes. There you go, Cynthia. Kind of put a little target on Lamar if anyone's thinking about dragging Lamar to a final two instead of yourself. I think that's a smart move. Although one or the other is going home right now. So, she's trying to make people think that maybe they need to send Lamar home right now instead of Cynthia. Toddrick's saying that Cynthia would win against Misha. Would she? I don't know. Cynthia is saying she'd be more scared of sitting next to Toddrick than sitting against Misha, and that she would vote for Toddrick over Misha. This is interesting. We can talk a lot about final two and who has relationships and who would vote for who. And in a normal season where everyone is within the bubble, you can at least make some guesses about how people played and who they'd vote for. This is going to be a little more open-ended when we get to the finale, because it's not, these jurors haven't been in sequester. They've been out in the real world. They're reading Twitter. They're seeing all these articles. They've watched all the videos. They know everything that's happened in the house, which means there's a lot more variables at play, and it's going to make it a lot tougher to figure out who's going to vote for who, especially you get to those first few house guests that left before a lot of the gameplay really was taking place, or before there was a lot of relationship building and all of that. Are they going to vote over based on who they knew for a few days, or based on what they're seeing on the news feeds? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how these votes go. And I don't know how it's going to go at this point. All right, we've got finally Toddrick saying, oh, how excited, how amazed he was to see Carson in the house when he walked in, because he said they never put two gay people in the house in the same season. Well, Tommy Bracco and Christy Murphy say, hey, Toddrick, sometimes they do. But he was happy to see Carson in there. You remember, they knew each other. It's not just that they're both gay. It's that they already knew each other and worked together, which is why I'm amazed that they didn't work a little closer together from start to finish. And that's it. We get Cynthia and Toddrick playing solitaire all night long, it seems like. I finally said, I've had enough. There's different rooms playing solitaire. I didn't think there's going to be a lot of game talk going on at that point. So a lot of solitaire continue to be played, but no more conversation. So with that, there you have it. So as a refresh, we've got Cynthia and Lamar, who are going to be on the block. One of them is going to be going home on the Monday Night Live eviction. But remember, it's a double eviction, so they're going to be followed right out the door. by someone else. Don't know who, but we're going to find out Monday night. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Sunday. Enjoy the last bit of the weekend. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. We'll talk about everything else that may have occurred overnight, all the plotting and scheming that's going on. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.